This is my motorsport.
I put everything into this.
It's given me so much more back.
The best friends.
The best moments.
The best skills.
And experiences.
I put hours into tuning the setup of my car.
From camber to toe.
To differential.
The shocks, tires.
Body and wing.
Adjusting everything in search of perfection.
Lap after lap after lap.
I practice endlessly on track.
And then it's time to race.
We are in for a barnstormer.
Wants to make the wheel, he makes a move stick.
Ronald has a look down the inside, can't find a gap there.
What's it going to be? It's a race to the line, and Skidmore takes it. Killick gets a kick down the straight. Oh,
it's Walters going for the lead.
Through for the third spot. It looks like Newman's got it.
Bruno gets the jump off the start, and Ronald Volker, it's all gone wrong for him.
Your European champion, Dario Balestre.
Racing at every level is hard.
And it doesn't always go your way.
Letting Newman. Oh, Newman's had a nightmare.
Oh, and that's Figueiredo rolling.
Spot on the pony. Oh, Garo's over.
Oh, Ballestri's flamed out. They can stop. Oh, Craxton is just gone. He's taken out the fence.
Oh, and he's caught the cone of justice.
Oh, he's broken. Valkyries is broken.
Sometimes you lose,
but you'll never forget the important things you win.
I made the best friends through RC.
I joined the team through RC.
I traveled the world through RC.
I have a career through RC.
I have a business through RC.
I have a family through RC.
Together we race, and together we win.
Whoever you are,
you can race with us.
RC is the most accessible motorsport on the planet.
RC is my motorsport.
I put everything in.
It's giving me so much more back.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? It is lunchtime here, and it is the lower finals day at the 2024 IFMAR IC Buggy World Championships. And I am along here with my vice president co-host, Maximus Mortimus, or as he's been now known as Tripod Max, because everywhere he goes, he's got his tripod in his camera. He's been very, very busy over the last few days. What is going on, Maxi?
Yeah, today lower finals. A lot of drama still.
Yes.
Because of the whole Tiregate situation and so on, which we're gonna talk about
which
in a bit of the show. But yeah, feeling in the pitch seems quite good. Lower finals, a lot of excitement, lots of cheering for their guys.
Yes.
That's one thing good about these races, because these finals go so much slower than a lot of the races, and then there's time for these pro guys to come cheer for their friends.
And you know, all the different countries was looking online. There was a lot of people just now cheering on the Argentinian Capalati. It was a great battle. We saw Juan Jose Serna battling with the Argentinians. It's always a great time here, especially in the finals, getting us prepped and ready for the main shows that will be coming tomorrow. So we're super excited about that. As you guys know, Max and I have been here since Sunday. We've been feverishly working. Max has been working while I've been up here just chilling out, doing the commentary with the RC Racing TV as they feverishly work as well. We hope you guys have been enjoying all the content we bring. So we've got some videos and stuff we want to go through here. We did do a recap on everything over here, but let's talk about this race. We're finally getting to racing here after being here for 5 days. It's day 6, and we're actually racing. We're seeing some exciting racing out there. It's looking promising for tomorrow. But let's talk about our week so far. It's been a very up and down week for the Americans. It's been a very solid week for the Europeans. And for us media people, all the drama came to a point yesterday, which we will get in. We do have some of the tire manufacturers in here that we are going to talk to. But let's go through some of our things. Should we look at some laps from maybe Q1? Why don't we look at our top TQ guy, Mr. JCC, Juan Carlos Canas, who does take TQ over this in a very commanding style. No surprises there. If you would have told me that Canas, Ongaro, Ronnefalk, Coelho, Offend, Boots, Mayfield would have TQ'd this, I wouldn't have been surprised. But we saw the top 5 looks like kind of how we want it.
Yeah, Canas, definitely the number 1 guy after qualifying. Actually, Q1 was the only one where he didn't look like the strongest one. But even here, I think he was a few tenths behind Ongaro here, or barely a tenth or something in the Q1. Ongaro looked really strong in Q1, but then kind of faded off a bit by bit. That seems to be his thing, though. He always seems to have a really strong Q1. But Canas then, Q1 had a confident sort of run, was a little bit nervous driving on the track, and then Q2 onwards, he was right on it.
Absolutely fine. I mean, we watched him in Q6 yesterday. If you can see, if you know, in these 180s up on the track, I don't think I saw anybody go through those 180s as close to the pipe, carrying as much speed as Juan Carlos Canas was able to go through there. Very impressive. Looking at Ongaro, if we can bring up him as well, some of Ongaro's laps. Ongaro looks to be on race pace and quite comfortable out there. He looks normal. I was watching Ongaro's car. It looks so much on the limit. When he's making these corners, it looks like it's about to go, and he's able to bring it back. Whereas if I watch Juan Carlos Canas, it's more like his car looks a lot more stable in the rear. It's able to rotate. But I do know that Ongaro likes his car to be on the edge.
Yeah, so that's kind of the big difference between these two guys. Canas likes his car to be really forgiving. So he can go a bit faster than maybe the car would allow him, but still keep it under control.
Yes.
So that's his strong suit. Whereas Ongaro is one of those guys who kind of just wants to ride around the track calm, but he wants the car to be the fastest thing on this planet and have the absolute corner speed that you can have. So this is sort of the big difference between these two guys. And totally opposite driving styles.
Yes.
Another one is really aggressive on his inputs. Another one is really smooth on their inputs. And it's really cool to watch because right now they're 1 and 2. They've been kind of 1 and 2 all the way through this event, barring Bruno Coelho, which we're probably going to talk about a little bit.
We can segue right into Bruno.
Let's go to Bruno because apart from these two guys, it was only Bruno Coelho who managed to get a TQ, and that was a stellar run. That was the second fastest run of the week so far, if I'm not totally wrong. I think it was maybe a second off from Canas's Q6.
As you see Coelho on our screen right here.
Yeah.
He did give away 2 TQs, though. He did have 2 TQs in the pocket.
That's true.
And he gave them away, one in Q1 by actually coming in by mistake. He thought he was done and came in. Maybe a little bit rusty. I know he did the Euros, but maybe just a little bit excited. He thought it was time for it to come in. He only got 12 laps. I think he still finished 3rd for that run, if I'm not mistaken. And then I believe he was on, I think it was Q5.
Q4.
Q4, he was on tap. He was in the lead on his last lap, and he just traction rolled on the 180 after the rollers, as you can see in the concrete part, and threw that TQ all the way. But as we talked to him yesterday, he feels very confident. You can see the touring car corner speed.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching him, and you know, when you look so close to the pipe, you're like, ooh, and he's able to control it. He's able to just, he is considered one of the best in the world, best all-round racers in the world, if not the best at the moment. And Bruno Coelho showed us that in his qualifying efforts. Very impressive, looks very comfortable. Obviously, he's free on tire, so he can go to whatever tire he wants. But the X-Ray cars in general just look great. We're going to talk about his teammate, my good friend, the Viking. Now, I think David is in a better position than he was in 2022. He looks confident. I think we didn't see him kind of get up to his reseeding pace, I think it was, or practice pace, but he's kind of been in that 4th place position the entire weekend. But I also feel that guys like Ronnefalk aren't showing their full deck. This is like poker. You got to have your poker face on, and he has his confident face on. I've known David for quite some time, got to know him, and I can tell he's very relaxed. He's very comfortable. If I'm him, I'm taking the day off, probably coming there to help some people, just chilling out, getting my car ready, and his program looks very good, like a lot of the X-Ray guys. Up next, Dakota Fenn, who's had a very up and down worlds. Practice, he was the best American. Seeding practice, nowhere near the best. Come out qualifying, come out swinging, Fenn top 3. I think got a top 3.
Yeah, he was, I think, 5th and 4th and 3rd in the first rounds. And then yesterday we was watching him, and he was kind of off the pace. And I bet some people were asking, well, what's going on with Fend again? But I had an interview with him after yesterday, and he told me that they were just trying stuff. Trying stuff for the mains. And I think that's the key for Dakota Fend. Last time out he was here, he went out on the wrong tire to the semis, went all the way from the LCQ to get to the main. This time out, his program seems to be much more well thought out. He is already preparing for the main. He knows he has to be on top of the tire game. And I think that could be the sort of thing that makes him have the chance to fight for the win this time. Because starting from 13th, it's really hard to win a Worlds.
Yes. Also testing things was Juan Carlos Canas. I think in one of his qualifiers, he had yellow wheels on. I was talking to the J Concepts guy. They were testing a new tread. They wouldn't tell me much more to that.
Yeah.
Same content, but new tread. Let's go into Joao Figueiredo, who's been... if Joao has been in pretty much a top 5 to this position in almost every race this year. He was fast right off the bat. Kind of petered off at the end yesterday of qualifying, but doing enough to get into a 7th spot. Joao, top dog of the techno guys. To be not surprised, because when I talked to him, he said the traction of this track is very similar, if not equal to his track, the Barcelos buggy arena over there in Barcelos. But he said the difference between this track and what I've talked to everybody is that this track is incredibly much faster, much more corner speed, and all of that. So we will talk about that really briefly as well. In 8th, Barkan Killick kind of digging himself out of a hole on the back foot. No surprise. We probably were expecting Barkan to maybe TQ around here or something.
I even talked with him because he said he felt like a deja vu was coming for him because he had a 12th and an 8th and a 4th. So that was exactly what he had last time out here before he had a TQ. That didn't end up happening, but the Kilic brothers are still, you know, up there.
Yes. Mattia Polito Del Bello, no surprise there.
Yeah.
A lot of people may not know who he is, but he's a very fast Italian on the SRX chassis and Matrix tires. Burak Killick in 10th. Burak, you can see he's put a lot of pressure on himself. He's not really... You look at Barkan smiling. He's having fun. Burak has got that constant scowl on his face. He's not happy with where he is. I know he wants to be up further, but hey, he's directly in the semis.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of scat action about that because we did hear that the Killicks, the rumor was that they did go over to a rival tire brand. Should we say the name?
Oh yeah, they are officially sponsored by Sismic, but they wanted to try hot race tires for a few rounds, which proved to be successful for them for a while, but they have since gone back to Sismic.
Yes, and we did hear that they got permission to do that.
Oh, of course,
So,
yeah.
No harm, no foul. All right, moving down. Johnny Skidmore, Captain Consistent. He's been a consistent top 10.
Yeah.
He's in 11th, directly qualifying into the semis where he had to bump from the quarters. I think Johnny Skidmore should be a professional car driver. I think he's one of the guys here in this top 10 who might have a real-life job. RC's his second job. Him and his parents are doing a very good job. He's a national champion in the UK. He seems to this track and Montpellier and these type of tracks seem to be very what he likes. Very good to see Skidmore up there. But I think one of the Americans that kind of dug themselves out of a complete and like bottomless pit is one of my good friends here, the Iceman Mason Fuller, who dug his way out from a not very good qualifying in not very good anything really. He was kind of way off pace in practice, way off pace in seeding, but he pulled something out. He ends up with a 6 in the end of the run, and that cements him in 12th. I talked to him last night by Facebook. He seems confident. He's cool. He knows what he's got to do. And then if we moved on, Marcus Carup, another surprise here. Not a surprise, yes, but not a surprise. 10 scale, 4-wheel drive European champion twice, generational champion because his father has won European championships in touring car. Very good to see Carup here doing well. Very nice young man. Don't believe he's 18 yet. I hope to see him doing more 8-scale racing. And then, of course, the veteran, the wily veteran, Robert Battier, who was very fast on first day of qualifying, not so fast on the second day. So we're hoping to see him get better. We're going to just run through this real quick because we have Pretty Ricky Ricon, the only Pretty Ricky Berton in 15th. Very quiet. We don't see anything flashy from Ricky. I was very shocked to see him there. and I was like, "Whoa, he's in 15th."
Yeah.
And
the only driver running pin tires, by the way.
Right,
in that
that's what we said.
semi-final listing.
So running pin tires. And, of course, everybody's favorite young Kyosho driver from the USA, our good friend, Phi Long Win, Little Bump, who was in, I messaged his father. So chuffed to see him in there.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I guess we have Alex Zankatine Baldo, Seth Dalen, the second fastest Techno, Renault Savoya looking good, Brandon Rose, all these guys are now in the quarterfinals.
Yep.
But, I mean, we have to touch on this. Ryan Mayfield, one of the fastest drivers in the world.
Yeah.
Just
Rating Roar national champion.
Yeah, kind of on the back foot from the start. I listened to his interview in the walkabout yesterday. He says that they're trying the silver bullet, trying to find an answer to their speed. Haven't found it, but he starts in the quarters. He can bump up the 30 minutes. I told you this morning, I predict to see Ryan Mayfield in the final.
Oh, I think that's kind of, it should be a given, considering he's world champion in 10 scale, multiple Royal national champion at this point, one of the fastest drivers in the world. So, I mean, saying that he wouldn't be the main, I don't think that wouldn't be good for the odds. So, I think he should be there, but it's not over until it's over. So
he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
a lot of work to do.
You actually missed one guy. Elliot Boots.
Oh,
he was in 6th.
How could I miss my good buddy Boots? Quiet 6th. I am also one of those guys who think Boots has something in his back pocket, and he isn't pulling it out too many times. All right, I know we have some people that we have to bring in here. Let's touch on Tiregate 2.0, as we're calling it. As we are getting some signals here. Okay, so we're going to go to an ad and we're going to get into Tiregate 2.0.
BeachRC.com, the racer's one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, S-Works, Pro Circuit Racing tires, Nitro Lux fuels, and Assault RC performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
All right, talking about Tiregate 2.0, we have Nicola Moroni of Hot Race Tires, and of course, everybody knows Jason Rona from J Concepts. Thank you guys for joining us for Lefty's Lunchtime Recap. Well, fellas, both of you had some very fast tires out there. Your drivers are doing well, but a little bit of a monkey wrench thrown into the spokes here yesterday. I guess I'll start with Nicola. We'll go this way. So those of you who don't know, there's maybe you can explain it, Nicola, so people can understand, and we'll come to you, Jason. We did do a video, but tell us a little bit about what happened yesterday in the drivers' meeting and whatnot, manufacturers' meeting.
Yeah, we just had a meeting with the federation, with all the tire manufacturers, and they asked us about the tire situation, about the diameter of the tires. And the rule says that the tires need to be 109, 109, but the rule don't say if the tires need to be 109 before the race or after the race. So I see on the EFRA handbook and on the ROAR handbook that the tire need to be under 9 before the race. Okay? Then we were talking all together, and I said, to be honest, for the good of our sport, we cannot change something just the day before the main. And if we have to do something, we have to do this from the first day. I said, from the good of our sport, we just have to keep everything simple. And if you want to check the tires, you have to check the tires before every run, so before the main, before the other finals. And that's it. But then, after a few hours, I see the tire statement. The tire statement said that the tire will be checked after. I know that there are some brands, mainly only one, that want this, but I don't know why they do this.
Okay.
They did this because I think most of us want to keep everything easier for everyone, and so this is what happened yesterday in the tire meeting, more or less.
Right. So I think I was talking to Paul about this as well, Jason. I think it's not necessarily the rule that's the problem. It's the interpretation of the rule and the implementation of the rule three quarters of the way into the race. Maybe you can give your thoughts on what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he covered it very, very well. You also obviously covered it really well on the on your video.
Thank you.
And I think that went over pretty well. But in general, I think that's what the drivers are stating, is that it would have been nice to know much sooner. And I think when we were at the Euros, they did the technical inspection in a pre-tech for the tires for the same reason, the situation, and it seemed like it came and gone pretty quickly. It was a pretty easy resolution. I think at the time, Carlos was very involved there at the Euros, kind of heading up some of these decisions, meetings. And maybe it was just he was relaying a lot of the information to me. But I think in general, I guess, in a sense, I kind of came here assuming it would be the exact same way. I kind of thought they would do the pre-tech because, of what had happened before and that type of thing. So I think that would be the difficult part for me, is I think in a sense that I kind of came here with the idea of maybe they were going to do it exactly the same way as they did at the Euros. But obviously there was some pressure. And I think that's where things kind of started to get moving in a fast forward yesterday. Is we had this meeting, and I thought everybody was very in the meeting. It was pretty cramped in the container we were in here, but everybody, I think, was pretty respectful for the most part. Kind of like, obviously everybody sees these things from their side, right? It's like, oh, what's good for us, what's good. And I think everyone for the most part was being very respectful. I think even Mark with Ultimate, he was kind of bringing up a lot of points, and he was like, he would say one thing, and then he'd say, you know what? He goes, but in the end, he's like, this is kind of not really fair to spring this on the drivers right on the end. And I think a lot of the manufacturers, we were all talking it out, and I think things were going pretty well with the IFMAR officials and, Carlos and Saunders and the president. He was in there. They were kind of listening. Things are going okay. We had one, that was really vocal, that was really wanting it to go a certain way. And there was kind of like my way or the highway kind of discussion going on with it, which kind of like, I think kind of rubbed everybody the wrong way. Absolutely. Which was like, hey, I understand that, you have a feeling about this. That's fine. Everybody agrees that, the tire size is not in question. It's just about the specifics of when and where and how it's done and all these type of things. And there seemed like there was a lot of pushback there. And I kind of felt like afterwards, it's like, wow, that was like not exactly what I was expecting to happen in a sense. And then they said they were going to have the IFMAR meeting, and there was a representative from 4 of the blocks. I think you went over this in the video, perhaps. And then there was a tie. And then a 5th person had to break the tie of the vote. Okay. So Sonder, am I saying his last name?
Sonder, right? We just call him Sonder.
Sonder. He was the decision. He was the 5th vote, right? He broke the tie. So there was, the two members. They were tied. It was a deadlock.
Right.
And then they came in and broke the tie and said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. Which, okay, if that's how that they were going to run it. But then I was also told that it wasn't just the 5 of them meeting. There was several individuals over there, kind of like, I'm not going to say they were coaching them, but they were filling them in, right?
Got you.
And it was kind of like, hey, and there was more than just the people that were supposed to be there. And look, I wasn't there, but this is what I was told from Scott Heckert, who was there. He's like, hey, I was there, and there was more than, there was more than the 5 people there.
So I just wanted to clarify something. I think you guys had a vote as well. The manufacturers had a vote? Or
No, not really.
No vote?
No.
So the voting was just with IFMAR and obviously...
Just in their mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in their mind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what it was a discussion. To me, what I felt like, it was the discussion, and then in the end, they just kind of told us what they wanted to do, and then they got the votes together, to the committee together, and they just kind of did it that way.
Okay.
And I think the only thing that was I'm a little unclear or a little uncertain about is when they started, when we were here several days ago already, I know that Sonder was kind of already looking at this in the tech area. He was kind of going over it. He was measuring some things. And I feel like this has been kind of going on a little bit already, like via emails, behind the scenes. Like, there kind of came in with a point of emphasis, right? Like, and they were going to say, okay, we're going to work on this. You know,
Gotcha.
we think this is something
For the future.
Well, I don't know. I think it was, the idea was we're going to do something here.
Got you.
And I think, you know, obviously things take time. There's delays during the day, but I think it finally got to the point where they kind of just needed to have the meeting with the manufacturers, and it kind of got pushed through pretty quickly yesterday. And I was a little, I guess, kind of caught off guard in a sense where it was like, I don't really know why they even had a meeting with us, to be honest, because it wasn't like it was our decision.
Right.
It wasn't like we voted in there and they said, okay, the majority, you know, goes with it. So I kind of feel like there was a decision in somebody's mind already of what direction this was going to go.
Got you.
And that's what happened.
So, like we said, it's like we were talking about people with cards in their back pocket. There's certain manufacturers, if you don't know who the manufacturer is, you can go find them. We'll talk about it in a minute. They pulled out their trump card after all the elation, after you guys had found all your testing and everything that you needed to do, because they know basically that their tires are bigger and of size no matter what, how worn on they get. So just for you guys to fill you in, so the problem is this is a very abrasive track. We got a 60-minute final, and tire wear is a concern. You know, tires coming in, not being the proper size afterwards. So that's what we're going on. It seems like the rule is very much in a gray area and open to interpretation. And rules shouldn't be open to interpretation. They should be cut and dry, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and then when they, in the actual IFMAR rule, the way it states things, and, you know, it says, like, no distortion, you know, should be, you know, a part of the technical inspection. So you're thinking, okay, well, what does this mean exactly?
Yes.
You know, some people are like, well, maybe that's part of your equipment. You know, maybe that's if your wing breaks. Maybe if that's your car brakes. Maybe it's the tires. Is that part of the distortion of the race? Sure. So it's like, all right, so if you're going to follow the letter of the law here in the rules and say it needs to be 109, what about the wording of some of this stuff? What about the fact that actually tires isn't really even listed in the naming at the end of what is supposed to be tech? So I kind of feel like this was going to happen from the get-go, no matter what we said about it in the meeting or not. Like, this was going to happen.
Right.
But we didn't find out about it till yesterday.
Right. So
like, this was like set into motion. This was like a thing that was like happening. And I think it also, and I'm sure Nicola would agree, that it's not that we're here like saying, oh, you know, Matrix is so bad and they did all this stuff wrong, and it's like, it's not really, that's not really the point, right? I'm just kind of filling in the blanks, but really it's sure from their perspective, you know, he has a point.
Yes.
He has a thing he's standing pat on. I'm sure you guys could try to interview him too, but I think that's the point that they're making is fine. You know, nobody really disputed that. It's kind of the rest of it, the kind of the way it went down, and even to me the report that IFMAR put up at the end of the day that you guys kind of posted as I forget what they call it. I was just a report.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me the way I'm reading that is I'm looking at this going, well, they're not really telling the full story here. Like, all they really said was, we're going to uphold this so-and-so rule. So then people online are like looking at going, well, all they're doing is upholding the rule. And you're like, well, no, that's not exactly the whole story. The way it was kind of, to me, what it does is it really says to people that, hey, there could be people out here racing that were breaking this rule while they were racing, and that's the reason that they were fast. But now for the mains, we're actually going to lock down on that.
Got you.
So I think it kind of, it doesn't bode very well for the guys that were doing well and having a great day. Like, they didn't really say that, hey, you know, during qualifying, guys were inspected randomly or whatever. They were passing. We're fine with that. All we're saying is this is what's going to happen. They didn't really say that kind of, and maybe that's not how they would word things, but in my opinion, it didn't come off very well, and it kind of discredits some of the people in a weird way.
Got you.
And that's the part that I think is a little upsetting about the whole thing is it's kind of like, oh, hey, you know, it should be a celebration of whoever did well, made the semi, made the main, did the TQ, or even, you know, Bruno having a great run, you know, I mean, all these things. And it's like at the end, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, this happened, and it's like, this is the reason, and that's it.
So had this happened Sunday and we got her, would it be different for you guys?
Well, at least you could tell somebody like any, you know, Juan or whoever and say, hey, no matter how you're used to doing this, we know this is going to happen now. So you get through all the seating, the practice, whatever, you get to qualifying, you can kind of work yourself into it. And to him, for a guy like Juan, he's got 20 minutes.
Yep.
He's got 20 minutes to go out there because he's TQ. I mean, for him, it's now he gets 2 places.
Yes.
For somebody that didn't TQ, a Dakota or whoever, he only gets 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
You know, Juan gets 20 minutes to go out and drive and say, okay, I'm going to run this a little larger because there is a fix. You know, we talked about, Nicola and I, we talked about, hey, we run a little larger insert, the tire's a little bigger, and, you know, at the end of the longer race, you're hoping that it's okay. And, you know, so far, the guys have been going 20 to 40 minutes with a set of tires, and, you know, they're doing good in tech. They're still passing, they're close, but they pass tech. But I think it's that last bit of the main that you got banked turns here, you got you know, a straightaway that's going uphill, so you're squishing the insert the entire race, and that's what's degrading. Along with the tread wear, your insert's getting
flatter.
So that's that, and so in the end, that's what you're measuring.
Gotcha.
And so you have to predict a little bit. Even us, even Matrix, they need to predict a little bit and say, hey, even, you know, if we're coming in a little big, or even Ungaro being a great racer, he has to say, my stuff's going to get a little smaller in 60 minutes too. I might have to adjust for that. So, but for us, we have to kind of predict even more.
Yes.
And in the end, we have to, you know, we'll be right there with everybody's camera looking in tech, right? You know, if our guys are in there or they make it, you're going to be like, okay, how's it going? Like when we were in Australia with Ungaro.
Absolutely. I guess we're gonna wrap this up a little bit. How does this affect the psyche of these drivers? Nicola, your drivers, I know you're very involved with them. Obviously, you're very involved with them. You know, they're having these good runs out there. They're feeling positive. How do they shake this off and get it? Because it's all, you know, it could be placebo, you know, affecting. This is a mental game. What is the general consensus from your drivers? Are they like, we're going to win anyway, we're just going to do what we have to do?
Just why we not check from the first day?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Nothing more.
Well,
if we know from the first day, to be honest, as I said to Jason before, with my tires, we check one tire that is completely slick after 30 minutes, okay? It's okay. Okay, we don't regular insert, so we have no big problem. Maybe for an hour, we're going to put one that is a little bit bigger just to be safe, okay? But it's not this the point. The point is why we started this yesterday, and if the federation know this from the first day. So, if in the first day we have team manager meeting for some, sorry to say this, for some so stupid things, okay? And why we not talking about tires?
Okay.
It's easy. So we talk from the first day and we say, okay, we are going to check all tires after every round. Perfect. Everybody knows.
Everybody's prepared for it.
Everybody prepared for it. But then we have normal customers that are coming here, spend a lot of money, and maybe they get disqualified because the tire is 108.999. Come on. What we do? And they know nothing until yesterday.
Yep. And for you, Jason, Nicola, you coming from Italy, having to transport all these tires over, just like other companies. You coming over from the United States, we've heard that people losing tires in customs. I think one of you guys are one. I heard lots. Also had some tires in customs going missing. So it kind of, I get it. It takes away from the sportsmanship of everything. We don't want to see a race decided on rules. We want to see a race decided out there. My dream is to see a four-way battle to the end. The very end lap. But I think Matt has some questions for you. He just gave me the signal.
I don't have questions for you per se. There's lots and lots of comments online, and there's loads of people tuning in. We'll get into them in a minute. It's possibly worth hearing from one or two of the drivers who we've got answers on this subject. And also, I should point out that IFMAR I hope, I've asked them, I think they will be on tomorrow's show.
Okay.
So I think it's important to get their side as well and to see what they want to see. But do you want to hear what Bruno had to say about it in yesterday's press conference?
Sure.
Yeah, I believe that depends on the IFMAR decision tonight or this afternoon, because there are some things going on the rules that needs to be clarified, and I believe if everything stays like we did on Heroes and they check the tires before the start, everything will be okay and we can run with the tires we are running and there will be no problem on the final. Probably we are going to change the tires just because they can explode, let's say. If not, I think it will be a big mess on the Saturday, because I don't believe anyone has the tire to survive 1 hour without changing and stays on the rules.
So currently the rule is you can't change tyres, is that it? Or
No, the rule is that your tire cannot be smaller than 109.
Ah, right, okay.
And I don't think everybody has a tire that can survive 1 hour driving on the truck and 109 with the tires we are driving at the moment. So if they actually do that, means we need to change the tires, means we need to run like a pin tire, which is going to change completely the race for everyone, I believe.
All right, so we heard from Coelho. There is the talk about tire changes. Do you think we're going to see anything like that happen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If you're competitive, I don't think you're going to be able to spend 30 seconds changing tires in the pits. Honestly, I would rather just run it out. You try to prepare ahead of time. Just run it out. If you're fortunate enough to win it, I mean, obviously, we still have to. Everyone has to get through the semifinal. I think the conversation here is based off of everybody advancing to the final, right? So the people, the favorites, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they advance to the final. I think what you want to do is you want to run it out, and you make some preparation changes ahead of time. You run it out, and see where the cards lay in the end. Because if you stop for 30 seconds to change, you're going to be like almost a lap down, like to somebody that doesn't. So it's like, to me, I think you're just kind of throwing in.
Yeah, throwing a bit.
Yeah, you're throwing in the white flag, like. So I think it would be tough to do that unless there was some reason you could make. I think the only reason you change tires is if you could make up time, not lose time.
Right.
Right. Like if you feel like you could actually make up time, but you'd have to make up over 30 seconds.
Gotcha.
So, I don't know.
All right, Nicola, how about you guys?
I think that is an option to have a tire change.
Okay. How about I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because it depends on the compound that you're going to use. For example, if you're going to use clay compounds leak, I think it's better than with the pattern on top. But if you're going to use regular compound, when it becomes leak, I think it's not fast enough. You lose at least 1 second per lap. So if you lose 1 second per lap for 30 minutes, you lose more than 30 seconds. So tire change is an option, 100%.
I think the only way we could have fixed this would be either to let everybody go as normal or a mandatory tire change, which would be fun for the viewers and fun for everybody. But who knows?
Why mandatory tire change?
No. Huh?
No.
But then everybody has to do it.
No point.
Like on road. But
or control tires.
That's
that you brought that up. I just thought it was
I had a chat with Nico about that. That's a chat that we probably have to have on the podcast.
Yeah.
I understand his feelings on that. I understand my feelings on that as well. But yeah, I think a control tire would solve this, but it may also bring up other problems as well that Nico and I have.
Control tires start to be the end of this.
That's
Same
what Nicola
is
told
like in on-road.
Yep.
On-road is that because of the control tires. If you want to do same also with buggy, come on.
Yeah.
Let's do.
Yeah.
It's not the solution, trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't
I'm
wait.
fighting on this from more than 10 years.
Okay. I would love to have you on the podcast to have a debate about that. I would love to have you back on the podcast at some time to have a discussion about this as well. I'm a big proponent of that. But anyway, I wish you guys all the luck. I know it's kind of throwing a monkey wrench and everything, but, at the end of the day, the cream always rises to the top, and we will find a way to do things. I wish you all the luck and your drivers, and thank you for coming up here and explaining things. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicola. Thank you for everything. All right, everyone, that's Jason, Rona, and Nicola, two of our tire manufacturers. We're going to go to a montage, and then Max and I will be back.
Redovan will be the place where we will crown a new world champion.
Extra pressure, and look at Hara. Hara is giving it everything, but there's not enough time in the checkered flag, and now we can say Cody King is world champion.
But Bataille is the new IFMAR 1/8 buggy world champion.
Davide Ongaro is your world champion.
I'm super excited. I mean, I cannot say it. Thanks to everyone.
Alrighty, so we are back with Max Attack. Max, we talked about this last night. We got a little bit more insight from Rona. Tricky situation. The question I asked yesterday, is this ethical versus is it right?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, if we actually look at the thing, the issue really... Like, the issue isn't really between Matrix and other brands. The issue is between the current IFMAR has decided that this is the way they want to interpret the rules.
Yes.
So Matrix is the only one who kind of pushed IFMAR to give out a clear decision and to push for the fact that they are going to do the post-tech. Because I think the thing would have been otherwise that they probably would have not even thought about it. They would have probably forgotten about it or something. But Matrix wanted to push for this, and now IFMAR was forced to make a clear-cut decision, and this was their decision. So I think that's sort of also one way to look at this. Yes, it probably should have been mentioned better in the rules going into this year. Yes, Matrix should have brought this up on Sunday if they was going to bring it up anyway. But at the end of the day, it always lies on the rule maker. If the rules are bad, that's their fault. And it has to be said. I'm sure we're going to get, as Matt said, IFMAR representatives
Well,
here.
you did write a post about this. I'm actually looking for it. So maybe you can give a quick synopsis of you did talk to Sander.
So I talked to Sander, who gave out the international jury decision about the tires. And his reasoning was that only the breakage of the car is distortion. So that's the way he interpreted it, and that went through the jury, and he was the deciding vote, and that went through in that way. But at the end of the day, it's like for him it was a no-brainer. It's like Jason said, it sounded like kind of for him it was normal. The issue I kind of have with this is last time at the Worlds, this was not even a discussion. They didn't even have the tool to measure it with. So why for him now all of a sudden it's such a clear-cut thing that they know this is going to happen if last time they didn't have the tool to do it. That's very weird for me. So to explain a little bit how they're doing their measuring, they have this plexiglass tool that has a hole in it. When the cars come into tech, they lift the car up and check that the tool does it go in or not. If the tech inspector has any concern that it might not go in, the tire might be too small, they take the tire off, put the tire on the table, and then place the tool on. If any section of the tire touches the measurement tool, it passes. It doesn't have to be the center of the tire. It doesn't have to be... So if you have one pin left that's sticking out of the tire and that goes over 109, you're good.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting because they haven't really did this till today. Like today, nobody had a clue how to even use the apparatus.
Yeah.
So very interesting. I quickly want to touch on what we talked to Nicola this morning. We talked to Jason. Nicola thinks that control tire is the death of Onward. I understand why, because Hot Race but let's be honest, Hot Race and Matrix have been battling each other in Onward for many years. We heard about how they get 7 years in a row, they get to sponsor Euros and Worlds and whatnot like that. If there is a control tire, I know a lot of people are like, oh, we had the same problem at the Worlds in 2023. The point of having control tire is to also have a limited amount of tire. And I think the only way to keep it fair is that each company should get a turn. So if you get if one tire company puts in a bid and they get it, it should go a year about. Like, it should not be. I don't think that a tire company should go control tires 2 years in a row. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the best tire for the track. It just matters that it's all fair for everybody. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like the thought of a control tire because as we've come into RC, it has been more about just throwing the right tire on. But it is interesting. Then there was a talk about maybe we need to actually split. This would be a great time also maybe to have a definitive line between a pro and an amateur. I mean, we're here at this race. We have pro drivers and we have amateur drivers. It's nothing wrong with crowning a pro champion. Like, hey, you are the pro champion of the world and you have an amateur champion. It gives something for the lower people here, the people who come around from around the world to look forward to. Maybe.
I'm not getting into that discussion because I disagree.
You disagree with me, but I know you don't like classes, but I also like the thought of we need some separation, right? We do need some separation from the pro class.
I mean, there is a point, but I think at the end of the day, no matter what the rules are, there's a way to make them clear, and that's the issue here. So sure, control tires would solve things in like this. But at the end of the day, if the rules were clear, this wouldn't be an issue at all. One thing I kind of saw on the comments when I was off the stream was that some people thought that this was kind of a decision made by the tire manufacturer, which is not true at all. Effectively, they had this discussion in the team managers meetings. It was brought up separately by Matrix after that. And then all the tire manufacturers together agreed to have this meeting and come to sort of a solution that would please everyone. So this way, all tire manufacturers would have a set of rules that they know they have made the tire to. Because some manufacturers look at the rules, they say, okay, when the tire comes out of the mold, it's 109. You know, another tire manufacturer looks at the rules and thinks, interprets the rules like Sanders has. So that's kind of what they was trying to solve. Okay, let's get a interpretation that we all agree on, and then let's say this is what we think, and then IFMAR is gonna have their way with it. At the end of the day, that decision from the tire manufacturers has no real value, but it's just a sort of a way to prove to IFMAR that they want this one thing. At the end of the day, it was one guy who made the deciding vote. It was Sander de Graaf, the IC section chairman from IFMAR. But I think the real question now is, what are these guys going to do to their tires? Because I don't think anything's going to change. It's going to be this way. I had a little chat of Jason and with Nicola before we came on. And Nicola said even here that their tires are quite close and they can just add a little bit to the insert and they're fine. It's not something that they cannot solve. Obviously, now that they have only that semi-practice to solve it, it's going to be really, really difficult. But you can put larger wheels. That's one way to do it. That obviously changes the characteristics of the tire quite a lot. Better way probably would be to add a stiffer insert. J-Consus, by the way, has cut down their insert, and that's why they're so close. So they have cut down the insert to bring the tire down, and that's why they're so close to the limit. So just going back to the regular insert might get them closer, but they might have to do something extra there too. One thing I definitely don't want to happen is the world champion comes over the line, and then the world championship is decided two stories down from here.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely,
tech booth.
absolutely. All right, well, let's get into, maybe we have a few questions from the chat, if Matt can get us some.
Oh, tons and tons of comments. Eduardo Rossi is saying fantastic coverage, Lefty and Max.
From Brazil.
On the subjects that we're talking about, we have... What do we have? Loads, but I'm trying to keep us on topic because everyone's talking about. People are talking about that. Yeah, it's blaming Matrix tires for pushing for this situation. A lot of people are blaming Matrix tires for this.
I mean,
that's a good topic because you proposed this question of is it unethical or is it right? The only thing that I think is unethical is that it was done yesterday and not on Sunday. That's the only issue I have.
Look, so we do know that Matrix protested this at the Euros, and it was turned on.
Yep.
So they probably said, okay, you didn't give it to us now. We'll wait for the ideal moment to do it. And like I said, it's like, hey, we're all happy. Yeah, we TQ'd, and take that. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's up to each interpretation. But by Matrix, they won. They threw in their trump card, and that's where they're going with.
Yeah, the issue I have with this also from IFMAR is that things like this should be mentioned on the very first team managers meeting before. Because at the end of the day, the decision-making comes down to IFMAR and the race direction, as well as every single team manager from the countries. From each country they have... they can vote. They actually have the power to vote.
Right.
The time managers, they have no power to vote.
Right.
So there was no vote ever.
Right.
There was 5 teams who agreed and 1 team who didn't agree. But the team managers from the countries, they have the chance to vote.
Right.
So if they had proposed this at the beginning of the event, the team managers could have said, okay, we want to be like the Euros, or we want to be this way that was last Worlds where it's not really measured at all. And... Also, they could have said that on Sunday would be settled, all good.
Well, it's been a month since the Euros, just over a month. Maybe we should have had resolved this problem weeks before coming in here.
Definitely.
So
definitely.
I think that comes down to lack of communication, and I think that just comes down to maybe following rules from the 70s and 80s, and now we're here. I mean, we saw it earlier this year with the e-buggy World Cup. That comes from a time when we didn't have internet and we couldn't see things. We didn't have Google Maps, and we had to go hold a race to see they can handle it. As I told the Spanish Federation when they gave the ACAR guys when they interviewed me, I think it's time for the rules to be looked at. I think it's time to be updated and brought into the year 2000s. I know that all takes time and effort from volunteers, but I think it's time so we can get away and clarification, clear cut, get away from this. But I actually, as I sat down last night and I couldn't go sleep till about 2 because it was running through my head and I was thinking about all this stuff, I actually thought it was quite brilliant from Matrix. And I woke up and I said that to you this morning. I was like, man, that was a great play by Matrix because they know that their tires are good.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But it would be something if it wasn't at the end of the day.
Pretty ballsy.
Pretty ballsy I mean, because that's... and. One thing I actually want to touch on before we kind of move on from this tire thing was the idea of tire changes. Rona was completely opposed to it, and Nicola, as an on-road guy, definitely knows how to make tire changes, knows all about it.
It's going to be interesting.
It's one thing that I find quite weird is the fact that do you think any of these guys have ever practiced tire change?
I don't know, man.
I know Ty Tessman would have, but he's out of RC at this point, but. I don't really know any of these guys would have ever had a specific tire change practice.
Do they sell DeWalt's cordless drills in 17-minute sockets here? Because they're probably sold out now. I mean, that's why I brought up. So it's funny because we have 2 men. One is like, hey, control tire. The other one's like, no control tire. Yeah. One's like, tire change. The other one's like, eh.
Yeah.
I just say make it mandatory tire changing, and that makes it exciting for everybody. At some point in that race, you have to come in for a mandatory tire change.
But with mandatory tire changes, let's be honest, the issue is kind of the fact that we are coming into the Worlds not thinking that you're going to ever make a tire change.
You know what?
Now it's mandatory.
They came into the Worlds thinking that their tires were good.
Yeah,
so they've been thrown there. So, hey. All good. We're going to probably leave Tiregate at that.
Yep.
We're coming to the end here. Let's get into, I don't know, man. Let's talk about something. This temperature today is supposed to be cooler tomorrow. Is that going to make a difference?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's super windy now. I don't know if you've been seeing the banner behind us, but that's been flapping at our back all the way through this session. And it's the wind, number one, is a really, really, really big...
Yeah, especially for that back section.
Big concern for these guys. And then another thing is obviously the temperature. So like Nicola said, if we're going to drive softs in the main, then it's actually going to be an issue. And if the temperature goes down, if there's no sun, the rubber doesn't get on the track. The wind blows the fumes away from the mufflers. It could get scary for some of these guys if we have to go soft. Because yesterday everyone was expecting clays. But if it stays like this, the compounds, like Neil said, we go to soft. Then the actual possibility of tire change is a big factor. And the thing is, it's not like easy for Matrix either. Because after 30 minutes, the Matrix tires are slick as well. So they might be fine on tire diameter, but if the tires are slick and you're already running half an hour with soft compound, and you're going to be half a second, maybe a second slower per lap, if you're a really fast tire changer, you can actually gain that back. So it's not completely out of the picture, even though you'd be fine on the
That would be amazing.
Diameter.
It would be amazing to see. All right, I guess we're going to kind of wrap this up. I don't know how much more we got to go, but hey.
We have 9 minutes.
All right, so we got 9 minutes to fill.
They've got so many comments.
Okay.
People are really, really impressed that you got two tyre manufacturers to stand side by side and be on the show. People didn't expect that, and people are saying how cool that is to actually see that.
Thank you.
Paul's Garage is saying, is it actually any advantage to have the smaller diameter?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a good question. So,
or is it a safety issue that if they explode, they could hit a marshal or something? Is it more to do with safety than advantages?
It has absolutely nothing to do with safety.
Okay.
So,
cool.
so it's 100% the sort of handling on the track. So I don't really know where that 109 comes from. Why is it 120, 109, and not?
It might be from the 80s.
I mean, most likely it's something like that. But yeah, I don't know why it's not 110, 120. It's 109.
I think tires have even gotten bigger since the 90s.
Yeah, the tires used to be a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But basically the advantage here is you're going at a very high speed. So you really actually like the thread of the tire relative to the wheel to be very low. So the faster you're going, you want the foam to be soft but not have a lot of give. So the car stays consistent, and you also have much more comfortable traction. You're not flipping over. Because the larger rubber you have, the more flex you're going to have
more
sideways. More, angle. Because I've been posting some pictures online of cars going around the track, and you can see the tires are way bending to the side. And that's kind of what you're preventing with a lower tire. The fast speeds, the high grip, that's when you want a lower tire. Then when it's the opposite situation, then there has been times when drivers have been worried about the maximum diameter. So that has been a worry in the past at the Euros. But here, we're at the low end. Matrix, the reason why they're bigger, I don't really know. I don't really know, because they have also before tried lower tires, and they have some specific tires that are lower. But especially Hot Race and J Concepts, they have found that, the lower we go, they're even cutting the foams, getting the tires flatter. That's also one other thing, the shape of the tire.
Yes.
Not only the size, but the shape of the top. So the flatter the top, the more side bite you'll have. The curvier the top, the more forward bite you'll have. But the issue is, the more curvy you have, the less contact patch, more wear, and then you lose that traction early on in the main. So the flatter tire, the wear characteristics are better, side bite is better, overall grip is better, and the lower the tire, better handling on higher speeds, higher grip. And it is an advantage, for sure.
It probably goes back to my statement as I came in earlier when I was watching Angaro's car. It looks like it's right on the edge.
Yeah.
And then when you look at Canassa's car, it's like you can place it anywhere. It looks planted.
Yeah.
So definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
Any more questions or comments in there, Matrick?
Yeah, some people saying that they don't agree with Nicola's comment about control tyres killing a class of racing. They say that ETS is bigger than ever, and that's on a control tyre.
Okay, so I believe Nicola's experience comes from. Look, let's just say.
Should we open a can of worms for the last 5 minutes?
Oh,
there is a vicious battle between Matrix and Hot Race that has been going on for many years in on-road. It's now came over to off-road, so I understand where Nicola comes from on-road, and he was saying, there's always accusations being thrown around. I don't want to start rumors and whatnot, but basically what he's saying is, it doesn't become fair because one manufacturer seems to get preference of tires for series of races and whatnot like that. And that's, if there is going to be control tires, there has to be stringent rules put in place for this.
Exactly.
And especially, like, so somebody will say, well, if this was a control tire and it went under 109, it would be the same. No, because you're actually you're providing this tire, so you're going against your rules. So you have to kind of throw that rule out of the bag.
No, I mean, you don't have to rule the route of the bag, but when you choose the tire, you have to make sure that that's not an issue. So one thing is here, everybody's driving thread tire because it's, like Nicola said, 2-3 tenths faster per lap. Why couldn't you choose a pin tire that lasts double the amount?
Exactly.
You could choose that for a control tire. Nicola's argument is based on from a point of a manufacturer.
Yes.
For drivers, they don't see this at ENS or something. But for the manufacturers, a lot of brands that have made tires for a long time in on-road, good quality tires, because they don't have those contacts and the sort of precedent of providing these tires for these big races, they don't get preference for the future events. So, for example, Contact, they're looking to go out of business. Matrix and Hot Race are sort of the only two remaining on-road tire at the moment for Nitro. And that's the issue with the control tires that Nicola is worried about. The behind-the-scenes planning and body systems, and so these kind of networks where some manufacturers get ahead. And that's something we don't want to go into, and that's why if we happen to go to spec tire, the rules have to be really, really, really strict, and they have to be followed to a T, and we can't make mistakes like this now.
I just wanted to bring up one more example of a spec tire. When we went to S&B for RCGP in 2022, the TZO spec tire was chosen, and it was also you had handles, so you had a limit, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I remember everybody, you know, spec tire was something new to everybody. Everybody complaining because it was like a big pin tire, and this is the wrong tire for this track. This tire is slow, but guess what? In the end, it was actually the right tire because halfway through the final, they were completely bald. The track was even more high traction than this, and that's when the tire worked. So if you would have chosen the tire that was the fastest, halfway into the race, you wouldn't have had no tire anyway.
Yeah.
So in the end, it doesn't matter what tire it is. It matters that everybody's on the same tire. And I think that's just the big disconnect. I mean, 10-scale guys are used to it because they have to do it. Yeah. I'm not saying that, yes, part of me loves the tire wars and all that stuff too, but then part of me is like, hey, we got to do something. I don't know what it is. We're not going to get into a whole spiel about control tires. We got to get back to racing. Max, thank you for all your time and all your hard work. This guy's been working very hard. Make sure you go over to the No Name RC podcast. Hit that sub, like, and notification button. It's awesome to collaborate with our friends here at RC Racing TV. Oh, by the way, I'm Sir Lefty the Great now, and I've been knighted. And
right,
keep up the good
honourable.
work. And you got some work to do. I got to get back to commentary. Thank you guys, everybody. And Nitro's the glory. You'll see you at the E-Buggy Worlds next year.
It is 2017, and that's out. Faces to the Redovan track. Oh dear, Redovan track there. Well, that's different. There he comes in. Oh, we've got an accident in the pit lane.
All right.
Oh,
that was nice.
Championship. Oh, exclusive content. Discounts on merchandise.